Okay, this short video is to show you how to upload these files onto Photoshop and merge them together. So I'm just going to go through that process with you really quick out loud. So in Photoshop, I've asked Photoshop to pull up a couple different files. Let's just pull that, get those going. So it's here, and then here it is. Okay, so let's pull up these three that you have here. DAPI, GFP, and red. So those are the three colors that you took. Open it or select them out. Now it's going to populate them into Photoshop. So let's just show what that looks like. So here they are. Now we have three different pictures that were taken. They all look like they're in grayscale, which is fine because we're going to colorize them in different layers. So this is the flag M2. This is GFP, and this is DAPI. They're all taken in the same frame, so what we can do is overlay each one into a separate channel, into a new color. So to do that, I'm going to go through it quickly, but then you can slow it down and take a look at this process if you want. First, I do Command A or Control A to select all, and then I do copy. So in this case, it's Command C or Control C. And then I create a new document here. In the clipboard, it's actually the right size. The thing that we have to change is we have to make sure it's RGB color and that its background is actually black. Choose that. And now we have a new one. Now I could do Control V or Command V to paste. Oh, but I made a mistake. I actually have, what I really want to do is I want to go ahead and open up the what's known as layers. Channels. So I'm going to paste this, which is the DAPI color, into blue. And so now I've highlighted that channel there, and now I can do this, Control V. When I look here, I should be able to see blue in there. There. Now you can see how it's all blue. So that's nice, that's pretty. So now the next thing that we're going to want to do is to go ahead and put in the color of red. So I'm going to go back to where we have our individual one, flag M2 red, Control A, Control C, and now I'm going to paste it into the red channel here. Highlighted it, paste, now I see red. So now we have blue and red overlaid. If you just wanted to see the red alone, I turn off the blue channel there, and now we can see just the red. It shows up that way. Awesome. All right, so now let's go back and let's grab the green picture here. So this is black and white, Control A, copy, and now we go and paste it into green, and the green channel there. And now if we want to look at all three colors here, we can see how we have red, green, and blue all overlapping. So that's what we've got now. What we were hoping to see was that there was going to be a distinct kind of overlap between red and green, but that's not visible. So one thing that we're going to want to do is create another, this is our nice overlay, so we'll go ahead and save this. And I'm going to save it into the spot that we saved that other stuff. So this is overlay of DAPI, GFP, and M2. All right, but now what you want to do is you want to be able to have one that just shows the overlay between red and green, or just red alone, just to help illustrate some of these differences that we see. So how do we kind of capture that? The way to do it is that we're going to create a figure that has these different images in it. So I'm going to copy this. In order to copy it, I want to make sure I get all the channels. So I choose the RGB channel. Now now they're all highlighted. And then I can copy this layer by Control A and copy. That's not what I wanted to do. Let me go back here. File, new. Okay, so in our new document, what we're going to do is we're actually going to make it be a little bigger. And I'm going to make it 500 or 300 dpi. And I'm going to make it 8.5 by 11. And let's go ahead and make it 500. What the heck? So it's going to be pretty big. So this is pretty massive. And we're going to want to have the whole thing be white. So I'm going to select the whole thing here. I'm going to highlight this, color picker, make it this here, and then I'm going to cut out, and then it ends up being now white. So now we have a nice white background. Save this, and then I'm just going to call this figure 1, M2, GFP. Save that. Okay, save that. Now what we can do is we can paste in the image that we had from the previous. Oops, not that. From here. So let's go back to that tab, Control A, Control Copy, and then just kill that. And now we can just paste it in here. Okay, well, that's one. Awesome. And then what we want to do is we want to capture some of these other images. So this one is the red channel. So let's just show that, Control A, in our figure here. And the purpose of that is to show that there's not any kind of unique and distinct appearance of our pattern of our expression. So the antibody isn't working. All right, and then let's do green too. I'm less concerned about the DAPI. That's not as helpful. But these two are. Now these all look like they're pretty big. And they're not kind of lining up nicely. So there's a couple ways that you can deal with it. One is that you can trim the images to exactly the same sizes. So let's just do that. I'm going to choose this one up here. And then we can trim this down a bit. Okay, so I've highlighted this here. And this is a bit of where you can choose your layers. So let me go to Window, Layers. I've opened up the layer. Layer 1 is this one right here. If I made it disappear, you see how that's on there. I'm going to trim that and the rest of these guys. But when I hit Delete, that trims what's in that dotted area. It only hits that one there. So now I have to go to Layer 2, do the same thing. Layer 3, do the same thing. Awesome. Now, I want to also trim this other side. So I'm going to do the same kind of process here. And you don't have to do this for everything that you do. I'm just using this, but it's nice to have these kind of cropped down so we can see what we need to see with it. Okay, so that was good because now we can actually see these images a little bit more clearly. Now we can line them up this way. And choose, I'm going to select all 3 of these layers, and then I can click and drag them all evenly. And here I want to just click and drag this across. I'm going to go ahead and just do the trim on Layer 1, Layer 2, and Layer 3. So I'm just clicking on the delete button there. All right, so that looks pretty good in terms of illustrating one colony that we have there. We can probably take all 3 layers and blow it up just a little bit to make it bigger and see what we have there. So I'm going to go under Transform and choose Free Transform. Actually, I'll go under Scale. That'll be a good one. That keeps everything the same scale. And up here you have like height and width and so on. So let's make this 125. That looks pretty good. We can probably go a little bigger. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Maybe we'll make it 145. Okay, cool. So now we've got these. So now we want to add legends. So this one says GFP. And now it's all showing up as white. Oh no, that's because the text here is white, so we can change that to black. And then we can click and drag that down. I like Arial, so we'll kind of keep it that way. And so this should be having our NATO 3. But we're just going to leave it as GFP because we don't really see any evidence that NATO 3 is being expressed. Now, let's add our new text box here. This is flag. Whoops. So I thought I was doing something else. Escape. Let's see if we can get out of that. I don't know what I hit. But what I want to do is click on here. Click here. And now I'm going to choose, and I'm going to write flag. And then let's kind of click and move that down. And you get little guidelines that help you be able to make sure these are even and straight. Okay. And I'm going to bring it over. It's not quite centered, so I'm going to try to make it centered within the image. And then the next one I'm going to have here is GFP, flag, and DAPI. And I'm going to indicate the color by highlighting the different colors that we have here. So this will be blue. This will be red. And then this will be green. Okay, cool. So now you've got these all saved. So the benefit of this image is that we can see clearly that we have green staining and we don't have any red staining there. And in your PowerPoint, what you can do is actually just add an arrow kind of pointing to the areas that are the same in all of these different conditions. Like this corresponds to here, which corresponds to here. So that's the story that you're kind of after and that you're saying. It's like, look, even though we're successfully expressing GFP, we should see a flag epitope version of NATO 3 expressed there, and it should be red here, and it's not. So it means that the antibody is not working. All right. Or not, I'm sorry, not the antibody is working, but the vector is not being expressed. So I'm going to go ahead and save this image, maximize compatibility, all that. So in order to get this into your PowerPoint, then what you're going to do is you'll want to flatten it and save it as a flat image. Save it as a separate file, so you can always go back to the original one that was unflattened. And then you can trim it down to. The reason I like the 8.5 by 11 is that when we go into getting things ready for publication, that's the size that we end up working with. And so it's good to have that really high, the DPIs and everything like that the way they are. So now I'm going to go ahead and crop, save. Now I got this. And then what you can do is, let's go ahead and bring it into PowerPoint. Insert. Picture. And then we'll go find it. There it is. Okay, so there's the flat version that I just made. Okay, there it is. So now you have this to be able to show for your data. And so I would add in, like insert, and then you can put in a little arrow, shapes. Pointing out to these different areas here. Let's make that shape white. And kind of illustrate those three. And then what I do is I just copy each of those three that we wanted to illustrate, paste. Oops. And now we just want to make sure everything's lined up. Now everybody can see it's around the right spot for all three of them. So you can see that there's no red there where green was. So that's what we were kind of shooting for. So save that. And then you want to label it with something that makes sense to help illustrate your point. So we'll go ahead and I will email it to you. Oh yeah, where did we save it? I don't know if I saved it. Yeah, I did. And then, so what you're going to want to do is try to get some kind of representation of your inserts that you've made, from your vectors that you have from IDT, to show your cloning process for your mutants. So in this case, I'll send you another video that shows you what I'm looking for.